Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to Gardens, the Untold Story. Andy's going to teach us 75%. And maybe if you stick around to the end, he might give us the other 25%. We'll have to find out. Andy, thanks for being here, brother. Love you. And so, Superseaweed, you've been telling me about this stuff for, over a year since you were on with Leighton Morrison and Dr. Av Singh on the Soil Matters. Fill us in on Superseaweed.
So listen, I've been in the business. I started doing the spraying thing in 1970, but I was actually doing something similar in high school. I had maybe over the lifetime of my business in school, I had over like 100 customers, and basically, I wanted to do first of all, I think I got into a paper route which I did not like. I said, no, this is not for me. I don't want to do that. So people said, well, you're good at gardening because they liked my front yard. I know I told you the history of my parents. We lived in Hialeah, Florida. Everybody had like little track houses, a front yard and a backyard, lawn in the front, sidewalk going in the front, the sidewalk going in the back. People used to walk by. I had tomatoes growing everywhere, fruit things growing everywhere. But I learned from very early on how to do foliar spraying. I didn't know that I knew a lot about biology, but I was actually playing with biology already because I would make things like teas from the plants, and I still do. I would get a plant making tea, I would just spray it. I figured that's gotta be good for it. So I started off early that way, and so I would go out and buy some things I would want to add to my spraying rig because people would say, and I have. Hey, by the way, my spraying rig is a bicycle with a little cage in the back, so you have to stuff it up there. And my spraying setup was it's a little brass unit. You hook up to your bib, you hook up to the hose of the brass unit. There's a little siphon line that comes into a container, sucks it out, and you can spray. That was my spraying rig. Okay, I kind of like that. And I might go back to that now. I really don't like the gas one.
The bicycle, riding the bicycle. Anyway, we have a birthday, so I want to just give a big shout out for Victor. He missed last week because it was his birthday, but happy belated birthday, Victor.
Hey, Victor, happy birthday. Are you like really, really old? If you're older than 50, raise your hand. Just say wave or something if you're older than 50. He said, He's not waving. Hi, Super. So when I started doing that, because one of my favorite things to spray, and I have, as a matter of fact, I did it today. I do it in a regular. It's coffee. Now what I do is I make my own coffee. Mm-hmm. Part of the thing about Superseaweed is that I tell people this is an ongoing experiment.
He's a baby. Okay, he's a baby. He's only 32.
Oh, where does it say? Oh, 32. Victor, I got married when I was 27. 32, like, I remember it because it was the year before 33. And it was like, so I only been married for maybe 7 years. I got married when I was 27.
Yeah.
Even those days, I was really good. I was a good gardener. When I got out of the service, I wanted to do my own business. I started Invisible Gardener. I was not in the gardening business. I actually was more of in the soil. I was already in the soil care business when I got out of the service. But when I was a kid, I learned from my mother some things she could spray. Coffee was one of them, and garlic was the other one. And the coffee was always so wonderful because the coffee helps to acidify the soil and helps to acidify the water. I learned, and that's not just a coincidence that certain microbes grow in a more acidic environment than they do in an alkaline environment. Not just a coincidence. There's certain microbes, like the microbes that grow from the milk, it's an alkaline environment. Mm-hmm. And when you I was just looking at my beet. It's what is it? Fermented beets. So, and I was watching the producer who made the fermented beets. He says, all about the biology. You get that fermented beet, you get the biology, eating the stuff, and it's like wonderful, wonderful biology going on there. And you get that into your tummy, and your tummy biology, like, hey, we need to have this dude on our show because he's talking about all about the biology in the fermented product.
Yeah.
In the fermented product. And so I was even looking at today, shoot, maybe I should start spraying fermented stuff because it's so rich. I mean, because he was talking, and it's really cool because I'm not going to get off the subject, but it's still on the subject. So he ended up talking about, he recommends that you eat 30 different trees, 30 different plants, right? So and it's not like so when he did the fermentations thing, he had in there about 20 different things already, maybe at least 10. I said, I got cabbage, I got some lettuce. I took whatever was in the kitchen, I got not a banana, but like an apple. I got other things to put them together, carrots. So I have 10 different plants and trees right there already. Okay. And so and then if he does it with a bunch of other different vegetables, he's going to end up with 30. And he says that fermentation has a wide range of the biology. That's what he wants. In your tummy, you don't want just one thing. You want this amazing mixture of biology in your
diversity.
Tummy. And and this guy is talking about the body. He's talking about your stomach, right? Rather than, and I'm going, holy cow. And that's one of the first times I've heard about it from a doctor point of view, saying biology in the stomach. I'm going, maybe they're watching our show because the biology is taking off in the body, right?
That's right. Yeah.
So when I make my Superseaweed, my premise is kind of buried in that sense. I want the more blend of biology, but I wasn't thinking about biology when I was making the Superseaweed. I was thinking about feeding the biology.
Yeah. Supplying the components necessary for the biology and plant growth.
So I call Superseaweed a microbiological activator.
Okay.
And I did a video, and I'm going to, it's a short video. I guess I shouldn't press leave the studio, but I'm going to press present. I'm going to go share. Gee whiz. I'm just going to share. You know what I should have done? Share. I think I could do the video because I know where it's at. It's a matter of fact.
Hold on, Andy. I don't know if it's my end glitching or if it's your end glitching. But your audio is totally off. Guys in the chat, can you let us know, was that just my end glitching or is that Andy's end actually glitching?
I don't feel like I'm glitching.
Well, and now you're not. It's just your audio went robotic on us.
Okay.
Okay, nobody's saying anything in the chat, so I don't know. Do you want me to add this up right now, Andy?
Yeah, go ahead and let's just play this and see what happens. Okay, so this is a little video I did. It doesn't have any kind of music or anything to it. That's my logo for Superseaweed. I said microbloom grow bricks because that's what it does. It also raises your brick level. You don't have to use it for bloom. You have to use it for growing. It's the biology. Now the seaweed, it's called Superseaweed, but I have a problem with that. The oceans is so toxic. I am stopping to use the seaweed. I can't find any seaweeds either radioactive or full of toxins. So I might call it super blah 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 because I'm having a problem with the seaweed part. Okay, but my Superseaweed has. I wrote down 16 species of endonectomycorrhiza that it actually has at least more than that, but those are the ones I counted off the bat. And so I was just going to, and this is just going to cover some briefly. I'm going to go over and show you some products, okay? And you all know about C90 that I talked about, C90 trace minerals. And so this whole, the Superseaweed has 96 trace minerals in it. Mm-hmm. And at the minerals, and not only the mycorrhiza, but the bacteria to eat, everything's there. All that's needed. And then this is the secret I'm going to show you guys towards the end, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to their website and I'm going to show you some of my sources. It's called Down to Earth. And there's the website. It's called downtoearthfertilizer.com. I would definitely write it down. Definitely go there, and you'll find that there's, because part of the issue, part of the thing you learn about making your own super seaweed, because that's what you want to do. You want to make your own liquid that really works. And I think this was done. So let me go ahead and let me see how I can. It's done. See, it's got my logo. You have to go to the website, all that stuff. I just do that out of habit.
And that's good. That's good.
I think I can undo it. Remove from studio. Remove from stage. What did I do? Remove from studio. There you go. All right. So I'm going to click on one more thing here, and we got plenty of time. I want to go over some things for you that I think you really would like. This time I'm going to share the screen, and I'm going to bring this baby up here. Can you see that?
Down to earth fertilizers?
Yeah, man. You see it, right? You see my little thing? Okay, it's called Down to Earth Fertilizer, and that's the website, downtoearthfertilizer.com. And let me just go over some things for you here. So here are products. Okay, these are products. Now, when I started buying these things from these people, they thought I was a nursery. They still do, because they don't sell to the public. They sell to nurseries and stores, right?
Right.
And so you'll see the blended fertilizers are really, really cool. And so here we have garden minerals. Let me just show you this first, okay? So here are 4 different sources of minerals. You have the garden gypsum, dolomite lime, garden lime. These are also sources of minerals, and garden sulfur, okay? That's a really good blend of minerals there that you can use. The gypsum has a wide variety of minerals in it. The dolomite will also have a wide variety of separate minerals as well. And the sulfur, you need the plant need the sulfur. And this is just things that I put in my super seaweed, because what I do is I have a 5-gallon unit, and right now what I'm adding to it, rather than seaweed, I'm adding another product which I will show you as soon as I go off the screen. It's called Nitron 835. Can everybody hear me? Or this? Can we put it in a little? Oh, it's taking up the whole. Yeah, okay. I can't see myself. I like seeing myself.
Poor Andy.
I do like seeing myself. I think I'm so incredibly handsome and beautiful. Yeah.
It's beanie. It's the purple beanie. Yeah.
And here are some simple ingredients. Let me see if they'll bring them up. Single ingredients. Okay, so look at this. Let me see if I could do this. Oh yeah, okay, no. So okay, so look at the let's start with here. See this azomite, right? That's one of the rock dust. This one comes in a granular form, and this is a powder form. The powder form is what I use to add to my super seaweed. The granular form is what I sprinkle on people's properties. Right. Okay. So then you have the bone meal, you have blood meal. You notice there's a lot of variety of stuff you can add to it. You want to learn to have a wide blend of biology. So I take a little bit of the bone meal. I don't use the blood meal because it's too active in terms of making a liquid out of it. I use a little bit of the bad guano. I have literally used all these different things, except that I use them separately now, like the feather meal. You can make a tea out of that. The crab meal is very, very rich in calcium stuff. You can actually use that, but when you're making your liquid, see my stuff, that's one reason, like I told you, I have a hard time selling it because it's alive and you ship it across stuff, and you may end up with a whole bottle of gooey stuff.
Yep.
Because it reacts to the heat and stuff. So here's the granular humic acid, which I like. And by the way, the humic acid is very good if you get the really good source with that lady on. I'm going to try her humic acid. And so here, and this is another source of rock dust right here.
Mm-hmm.
Langbeinitite. Langbeinitite. Yeah, this is an excellent source of rock dust. And then here's the soft rock phosphate. This is another rock dust. This is a very important rock dust. Let me just show you real fast. So you see, this is a very important rock dust in the sense that it has what plants really need is the phosphate, right? So this will help a plant to especially if you're growing, you know what, because this is very good for helping to produce the flowers and the buds and so forth. Okay, so this is OMR listed. So all of them are listed that way. So it's an excellent product to use, and they have more. They have. Let me show you some other things. So here under products, these are wettable products that you can make a liquid out of, that you can add to your liquid to make a liquid out of. So you can actually add to water. So when I started making my super seaweed, I use these things. They're very excellent source of nutrients if you don't have other ways to get them. But I also then I discovered rock dust, and rock dust, if you get different sources of it, which we're going to show you how I locate rock dust. And so these are also very, very good. Like this is an amino, which I add. I still add it to my super seaweed to this day. It's an excellent amino product. And let me show you some more. So here are liquid fertilizers. Now, liquid fertilizers are kind of one of my favorite because you can also get liquid bone meal, liquid calcium. So liquid calcium is a really nice, and this is only 5%. And so that, but most people like asthma mice have got maybe 0.01% calcium in it, right? So and this stuff here is stable, so you can actually add it to your liquids. You can make a compost tea with it. The microbes love calcium. They definitely would go to calcium. These are biological products that I actually use in my the granular ones I don't, of course, because they're meant to be added to the soil. It's a soluble one. So I use all of these three right here, and these are very, very good in terms of certain types of I like getting endo and ectomycorrhiza. So I learned from experience, you want to get both endo and ectomycorrhiza fungi rather than just say one, right?
Yeah.
And
some plants will attach to the endo, some plants will attach to the ecto, but the brassicas, generally, there's no mycorrhizae association with your brassicas.
What's a brassica? Like a
lettuce, kale,
stuff
like that.
Yeah. And so now this is so remember, down to earth. I already showed you some of my secret stuff because a lot of these things are really, really hard to get. And you can't find these, especially the biological products. You can't really find these in the stores. They're hard to get. But I think that you might be able to order them in Canada. Canada. But the trick would be to look and see what you have similar in your area. You don't have to pay a lot of money.
Actually, Gaia Green has a lot of the same style of products as well, and a lot of powders. That's mainly what I've bought from is Gaia Green out of Canada.
Yeah, exactly right. And that's what I would say. You have to look for various different sources that you can get nearby, because there's no reason for you to be spending a lot of money to have things shipped to you. And so the other thing is, I talked about rock dust a lot because my super seaweed. One of the ways that I've learned how to stabilize all these mixtures and all this biology is to learn to use the rock dust, because the rock dust will stabilize it, keep it from going bad on you, keep it from becoming super active. And there's lots of sources. Let me see if I did this right or not, because I think okay, right. So here we go. I'm going to do another share, and I'm going to do a screen share, and I'm going to no, that's not it. It's new mail, new mail,
and the DTE. I'm assuming you're talking about diatomaceous earth fall dog.
Yeah,
but please let us know.
Yeah, now diatomaceous earth is a dead sea life, dead diatoms.
Diatoms, yeah.
Diatoms, right? And there's pool grade, garden grade, and food grade.
Oh, down to earth. DTE.
Oh, down to E. Yeah, okay, yeah. Very funny. But that's right. Just remember that, and you will. I don't know why it doesn't want to come up. Oh, maybe my window. I should do window. So here's the window, okay?
There it is.
So these are some of the products that let me see if I can get it. Okay, so here's the one that is a secret. Okay, so I'm going to give you this secret because when I started with doing my mixtures and making seaweed stuff like that, 1970. So I was giving talks at different places, and there's one place called Nitron. It's a Nitron company, Nitron 830, and they make this product called Nitron 835. And this is it right here, Nitron 835. Now, the company went out of business, but, I mean, the mom and dad died. And so, but this company here, okay, so this item is discontinued by the manufacturer. Ugh. So I didn't see that part because this company was selling it, but now it looks so. What I think happened here, see, mom and dad made this amazing product called 92835. Right. It was absolutely amazing. I buy it and use it all the time. And then when they died, the kid started making it. The kid diluted it. I stopped buying it, and I actually bought it a few times because it's better enough. What I do is I make my own, run it through my bubbling machine, and make it. And yeah, this is one of the most amazing products I've ever encountered. But they also have it's called Nitron 835, and I would tell you, I could have sworn. I mean, I bought some not too long ago, so it looks like they just hit the bucket. I don't think people are doing it because the mom and dad did it in the 70s, so like they lasted into 2000, 30 years, maybe even longer than that. So that's too bad. But let me show you one of the other things that this company does, because they do. Let me see if I can find it here for you. Grow supplies. Okay, let me see. Yeah, man. Yeah. Let me see. Microbial inoculants. Let me see. I think it would be this one. They also sell a really, really cool product. Let me see if they have it. Because maybe they may have died. Oh, here it is. So this one is one of my favorite things. We call it EM, effective microorganisms.
Yeah. And that's actually EM1 is actually a trademark product. There are other EM products on the market as well.
Yeah. So I met him in Fayetteville, Arkansas, when I was giving the talk in 1970, showing off my Superseaweed and so forth. And he came to me and he said, I like your product. Have one of these. And I said, what is this? Effective microorganisms. So I'm glad to see they're still available. What I would do is I would buy this and make more. See? Right? So if you make compost tea, you can take one of these. It's a tiny little, you can buy a gallon of this stuff, which is not what I'm going to do probably tomorrow. Because I was going to get ready to go here and order some more Nitron 835. So I said, fine, I'll get to microorganisms. Again, getting different sources of microorganisms is very important. Different mycorrhizas, different bacteria, as many different sources as possible. That there's still one more aspect to super. Anyway, this is one of the best products you can find. It's called Arbico Organics. I'm not sure that arbico-organics.com. You go there, and they have lots of. Mainly, they're beneficial insects. They sell a wide variety of beneficial insects. When they do pest control, they have nematodes and all kinds of. They sell diatomaceous earths there for the horses. And when they do disease control, they have all kinds of really great. These are all organic products that they sell. The lady's I've known, we've been friends for a long time. As a matter of fact, I might have her on as a guest because she's going to be on a guest on my show, and we'll have her over here. Which, by the way, guys, Ken's going to be a guest on my show coming up on March 8th. So we're going to be introducing Ken. I want to have Ken show me some early pictures of him. I want to see him in a swimsuit.
Yeah, right.
Okay,
so we'll work on that one, Andy. Yeah.
I'm gonna stop sharing. Let's see. So we have we still got plenty of time, man. Holy cow! You guys have any questions? He is a generative.
Hold on. Okay,
What is it?
You're supposed to give us 75% of what's the super seaweed. You've given us the bonus stuff. Did I miss something? So what? How does this all go together?
Okay, so the ideal way of doing this is I've learned to let it. Yeah, March 8th, Ken will be on 8th. Yeah, that's one. Yeah. So there's still one or two. There's still one secret ingredient, because when people go to when I sell it, see, and I used to sell it, and I try to ship it real fast, and it doesn't work. But what makes a difference when I go out and do the spraying is the actual live microbes I get from the worm farm. Right. So what I do is the super seaweed is not really the micro source. The source is from the worm farm.
Well, your microbe source is the worm farm. Seeing your super seaweed is all the building blocks that the microbiology needs.
Exactly right. So people have made the super seaweed, just like I said, because it's in my book as well. But they didn't get the live microbes that you need, because these microbes, I've learned that the microbes from the earthworms, there are a few different places you can get some amazing stuff from animals, and it happens. The earthworms happens to be one, which is no coincidence. They live in the soil, and that's what they produce for the soil. See, so that's really very cool. So that's what you need to do. You need to actually get into having a worm farm on your place. Have it indoors, because that way you can grow year round with it, because sometimes the weather changes, rain. I know from experience, my worm farm is outside now, and I have people call me up. Your worms are climbing up the building. Oh, they're in a little canoe. They're canoeing by us. They're singing songs. It's like, it's just too much water. So I'm in the process now of moving the worms to my home here, and building a little barn for them to be in, party and stuff like that.
A worm house, man. That's where the big party is. Yeah.
Right. So that is the secret to it. So you want to add something live to this mixture. So you have this really cool mixture. It has all the trace minerals in there, and it also has a bacteria in there and enzymes in there, and you put them all together, and that's the liquid that you're actually going to feed to the worm juice. See, right? That's what you want to do. You want, and you only need. So what I do is I have 100 gallons of water, distilled water. I use a Blue Boogie water filter. Blue Boogie.
Okay.
Water garden filter. It filters out the water. I'm in the process of changing the water filter into a structured water. So when the water flows through the water filter, it changes the structure of the water. What club?
Your worm house, the party house. It's called the Night Crawlers.
Night Crawlers. That's actually the name of a cool group. And actually, the type of worms that I've learned that works the best are African night crawlers.
Yeah.
So you have the right name already, right? They're African. They have the pages going.
They got their bounce on.
So that is kicking in the microbes. So that is the secret ingredients. You have to add something, and while it's still alive, rather than wait for it to die and then add it. So when I use my liquid, I actually make it the night before. I give them. I have a gallon of the microbes, and I add another 2.5 gallons I have 2.5 gallons of the microbes and maybe a cup of my super seaweed. Blended all that together. I aerate it a little bit, but then I put that into 100 gallons, and then I aerate that again. And I wish I had a microscope to look through it, because I could tell you the population. Yeah. What is it? The population of the microbes in the water. The other thing that's different too is that I tend to vary the different products I put into it throughout the year. So right now it's wintertime, So I'm concentrating more on spraying trace minerals than I am spraying other types of things that are in my liquid. So when I make the Superseaweed, it always has the rock dust in it, but I don't add the C90. I only do that in the winter time.
Mm-hmm.
So in the rest of the time, what I do is I use a concentrate on make a liquid from the rock dust, especially the soft rock phosphate, which is very high in the calcium and the phosphorus, and that is what we want to give them during the spring. And you'll find that in the summertime, you want to have an entirely different regimen of what you're spraying, because you want to have things that are more active. And I've learned that I get my bacillus from rice.
Right. Yeah.
And I use that as for my summertime spraying. So I have the microbes. I feed them the bacillus. They go happy with it, and they produce an entirely different spray that I would then spray my plants with.
Mm-hmm.
So it goes through a different range of plants rather than spraying the same thing all the time. And so you want to be able to switch up on what you're using. And I still buy some seaweed. I buy a few different varieties which I like, but I wish I had a Geiger counter or some way to measure whether it's toxic or what, right? Actually,
Yeah, exactly.
I actually did. I actually did buy a. Wait a second. Look, I bought a Geiger counter. This is a Geiger counter.
Okay.
It is. It's a Geiger counter, and it's going to tell me whether there's any radiation in the seaweed. I just have to figure out a way. And you see, it already has a little bit of. I don't know. You hear it?
Well, yeah, you're in California. You're a little active over there right now.
Do you hear it? Yeah, it's like I'm going. Holy cow! There's already stuff in the air here. So I'm going to test the seaweed out. But I've been spraying for I don't know since since the 70s. That's 30 years, 24 years, 54 years.
That's just a couple of days, man.
54 years I've been spraying, and I find that like today I went to a place with cypress trees. Now the lady has is a disease, not the lady, but the cypress trees have a disease, and they were all dying. And so with all this rain and everything, the problem that people are having is that the biology is flooding. Biology needs some air, and the soil is not draining, and so sitting in water. It causes all kinds of problems. And then you have all these diseases which tend to spread even more. And one of the advantages of having biology in a liquid form is that you can actually spray the water that's sitting there and have the biology work on the water to stop the diseases from spreading.
Right.
So one of the things that's important to add to your, here's another secret is you want to switch up on the spraying in terms of once at least twice a year you want to spray milk.
Yeah. Whole milk, or
whole milk. The fat is actually the best part.
Now, are you spraying as a foliar, or are you spraying as a soil application?
Both.
Oh, okay.
So you want, and the ideal time to do that here in Malibu, for example, here in Southern California, is to spray it now during this time of year when you have the transition between we're coming into springtime coming up real soon. Yeah. And so, I would do like a gallon of milk and 100 gallons of water.
Right.
Bubble it up, and you want to bubble it up to the point where it starts talking to you. Hey, buddy, what's going on?
Okay, so you're talking a couple of 3 days then.
Well, no, it depends on the temperature. It depends on the temperature, right? So if it's really cold, you'll take a while, overnight, a couple of days maybe. But over here, if it's anywhere in the 70s, man, it doesn't even take overnight. You'll be surprised the next day. You go, okay, because if you leave it a couple of days, it would make me sick. Like I could. Now my Geiger counter is actually beeping because I didn't turn it off. You'll find that so what I would do is to make a mixture of milk, coffee, cream, and sugar. Bubble the milk with a straw. Well, I don't know if you can actually do that much with it, but you definitely would want to bubble it. But what I would do is you don't have to bubble the milk. You actually add the milk to the clean filtered water and then bubble it.
Yeah.
You see, and if you're going to use the milk, the ideal way scenario to do it is to make the bacillus first. You do that by letting the rice sit in clean water for about 3 to 4 days, and you'll find that white liquid in there is what you want to use. You see, and that's the one you bubble.
Yeah. And like bubbling a compost tea is what we're talking about. Now, do you use an air pump, or are you using a water pump and doing it like that?
I have a little air pump I bought from it's called a Tea Lab. So they sell little units which has a pump in it, and it bubbles. So they're liquid. I hooked it into my 100-gallon sprayer.
Mm-hmm.
So that it'll do the 100 gallons at a time.
Cool.
Right. And I'm in the process now of getting a beer making machine, which basically is a bubbler. Mm-hmm. It's a cone-shaped bubbler that circles the liquid. And so I will switch over to using that to make my liquids, because I would put a gallon of my liquid in there, 14 gallons of nice clean distilled water, and bubble it up. And not just bubbles, but it makes the bubbles in a circle, which will, what is CO10? What is CO10?
COQ10. Interesting.
Yeah, let's see.
Lily and Pembam are talking about treating dogs and congestive heart disease, and COQ10 is very good for that.
Gee whiz, yeah. I know what it is. So I haven't taken any myself. It's like an oil, right?
You can get it. I think both as a liquid and in pill form. Yeah, that's something Lily knows more about than I do.
He knows a lot of stuff, and she does know a lot of stuff.
Yeah, and she's saying I pierce the pill and squeeze out half per day, so it's obviously a liquid.
Yeah, it's a liquid. Yeah, and it's good that people give their pets the right stuff rather than more chemicals and more junk.
Yeah,
and that's always a big problem with eating. I was just looking at today about people are eating just junk.
Yeah, and we don't have the biology to break that junk down in our guts anymore, because we've been taking antibiotics for decades and decades. It's killed our microbiome.
And this guy was talking about that I was talking about with fermented food and biology in your stomach. He was basically saying the same thing: is that people are eating junk and it's killing the biology in their stomach.
Yeah, and that's why the fermented food, which is the biology breaking it down, that's how the fermentation happens. You're adding that biology back into your guts when you eat fermented food.
So I would key into the fermentation process, because I think that's really cool. I'm starting to realize that if it's good for my tummy, it's also good for the soil biology.
It is. Yep.
I don't think there's no way it could not be. So I'm seriously thinking of fermenting more stuff and spraying that, learning how to spray the fermented products. Because I think that's the whole new field right there of how to treat. And I think it would help in terms of diseases and pests as well.
Well, you're giving building blocks, and you're giving biology that uses those building blocks. Say you're doing cabbage, the biology that exists inside of the cabbage leaf, when you put it in with your brine or to make your brine, it's that biology that put it together, constructed those cells. Now it's that biology that's pulling it back out and putting it into the mixture. It's the same. Like when we die, what happens? Our biology goes, oh, time to break all this stuff back down into mush to feed it back to the soil.
So I think what people should just key into is, first, try to find things in your environment to make a liquid out of.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll find that biology will go a lot further. And because I buy things from all over the world, and I use it mainly because I see people's properties are plants from all over the world.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But at the same time, the local environment is what they're in, and if you give them enough of that, they will respond just as well. Which is one of my feelings is, because you're living, they may be from different parts of the world, but their biology is sharing this one little area that they're in now.
Yeah.
And that's the key that that's what we want to key into. So I've learned that milk is really cool. And when you eat vegetables, you make another spray. I was talking to this guy just yesterday about making sprouts.
Yeah.
And he says, well, I throw the liquid away. I said, well, that's too bad. It's called Rejuvilac, which is what this person who wrote Survival into 21st Century, is a really cool book, Victor Kovinskis.
Okay.
When I make hey warriors for Christ, when I make the sprouts, I would drink it, but I also would spray my plants with it.
Yeah.
Very, very good. It's interesting the way it would help the plants, like it's a fertilizer. No, it's a biology that is a fertilizer. See,
well, it's not necessarily the biology isn't the fertilizer as the biology is the workforce that breaks everything down to make it bioavailable for the biology that grows the plant.
That's it. That's it in a nutshell. And that's all I've been doing all my life is trying to connect the biology together so that they can then break it down for the plants rather than we give them something that we think is already broken down that we want to give it to them. Yeah.
And
really knows about Rejuvilac too, because any health food now would understand. Yeah, it's like, and for the longest time I was throwing it away. Make some sprouts and throw it away, and I go, wait a minute, that's wrong, because I would drink it.
It's your worms. Come on,
yeah, little lemon juice, and so now I give it to the worms. I don't ferment it, but it actually ferments in the worm bin. It goes.
Now I have a question on your worm bin. What are you using for food, or are you feeding them, or are you just using kitchen scraps and things from the property, or are you buying like worm chow or something like that to feed your worms?
I go out and kill people, chop them up, and feed them to worms.
Oh man, I got a few that live in California. Yeah.
Actually, though, so when I first built the worm farm, I layered with various different things which I know they're going to eat. So they like cardboard, recycled, clean cardboard, which is like in boxes. They would eat through that. That I love the carbon in that. They like recycled newspapers, which doesn't have any toxins in it. Cut them up little strips. They like that. They of course like leaves, all different kinds of leaves. You can sprinkle that on them. I also put in a layer of compost that I would have. So you want to have some soil in there for them.
Yeah. Do you use coffee grounds, Andy?
Yeah. So it's just today.
Just a word to the wise. If you're using a lot of coffee grounds, add a lot of cardboard. They need the carbon from the cardboard to counteract some of the side effects that they can get through the coffee grounds. Just saying.
That's why you have. So you can't just throw it, but what people do, and it's been mistakes, they would get some soil, dump it in there, and dump the worms in there, and then start giving them stuff, and it won't work because there's not enough carbon for them to work through. They need that. That's why you want the cardboard, the newspaper, the leaves, other body parts. They love toes and fingers. They have to have the carbon. And so one of the things that I love adding to the worm farm is biochar. So biochar is carbon. Basically, it's carbon. It's black. It's called biochar. So I sprinkle a little layer of that into the worm farm. I also do. That's one of the secrets I do with my tree house, because if the tree is sick, the first thing I do is I establish a place for the biology to live, which I call them tree vents. This is in my book on how to create colonies of not only just mycorrhiza, but the microbes, all the different kinds of biology at the base of the tree. So it colonizes it, which then eventually brings the soil, not just the soil, but the roots, comes in contact with the roots, and it brings the root systems back to life, because that's the key to helping the trees grow healthier. Because that's why I do foliar feeding, but the real work is getting the root systems healed.
Yes. Yeah.
And that is establishing a colony in the soil where it should be. And so, but I give, and the other secret too, it's not a secret, but so you know that when you're feeding your worms, you should be feeding them only organic stuff. So if you feed them chemical coffee, that's going to kill them. If you feed them junk food, that is going to kill them. I have a lady friend who feeds her kids junk food because that's all they eat. And so the leftovers she gives to the worms die. Why are my worms dying? They go, well, this is junk food. Do you read the ingredients in this stuff?
Mm-hmm.
Right. So, and so that's like, and so I was just telling somebody just the other day because I'm shooting some videos and stuff. One of the videos I shot, he says, "What do you feed? You mean you go out?" So I go buy a banana, organic banana, slice both ends, do a little slit in the middle so it's easier. Put it in the worm farm, and the worms eat it right up.
Yeah.
They love coffee grinds, especially if it's organic coffee grinds, because they like the energy from the coffee grinds. But you need, so you want to constantly be layering, because that's what happens. They will go through that and everything will disappear. Another layer of the cardboard. You get the cardboard, you slice it up. A lot of them are corrugated. They have a little things in it. That's perfect. You just cut strips, put it down. You'll find the worms will go right in there and eat all the cardboard out. But they'll make it like a little home in the newspapers. They love newspapers. You have to have that carbon. Otherwise, they will die. And you say, why are they dying? Well, because they need a complete diet.
Yeah.
And so but once you do the worm growing, it's called the leachate. It's the liquid that comes out. Like all this rain that's just recently happened. The rain, Mother Nature naturally filters out the soil. So that's what we have to imitate. We have to use clean distilled water, sprinkle a little bit of water, let it percolate through, and that's the liquid you want to use.
Now, do you put yours back in and recycle it a couple of times to make it stronger? Because I know some guys that do that.
Well, there are so many different ways to make a worm farm. We're going to have a little show on it because there's some of them that are like very well manufactured, which have a little motor in it that circulates the water through them, and they even pump the water out into the garden, that kind of stuff. So you can be very creative in how you do your worm farming. My worm farming is basically very simple. I bought a cattle trough.
Okay. Yeah.
A metal cattle trough with 4 feet by 2 feet wide, maybe 3 feet tall. It'd be a metal cattle trough. Punch the hole in one end of it, and I layer my worms in there. The stand that sits on is on an angle so that the liquid will run off one side. And so I punch the holes in there. I got a container to catch it, and that's the layer of the worms. It's sitting on a stand because you can't put it on the ground, because if you put it on the ground, the ants would come. Oh, there are worms here. Everybody go there and eat all the worms out. They'd be dead. Next thing you know, you have a big colony in the worm farm. No worm, you have an ant farm in there.
Okay.
Because the ants will kill the worms and eat them. They're meat eaters, right? So natural enemies. And then you definitely want to, like, pretty soon I have to take everybody out, go through them and separate the worms from the soil, and then rebuild it again. And that little soil that I have, I in Florida, I used to wrap them up in either aluminum foil or any of the saran wraps, tie them up in a little ball, and store them in the basement. I can go down there and take one of those little pieces and make hundreds of gallons of liquids from it, because you can take a little bit of that, make it's like when the 5-gallon bucket freezes sap was still. Oh, I was just reading what's going on over there with the sap.
Yeah, Lily and Super Nessa are talking about the sap that he's doing. He's freezing it to collect, and then he's also freeze drying it to a powder.
And that's a cool way of using the biology. It's really, really is cool. And you'll find them. People are very ingenuitive in coming up with ways to use the biology, and that's the secret. Use more and more of the liquid of the biology you have around you. You'd be surprised. And if people did that all around the world, you have these countries, third world countries, where, oh, we're going to starve, we don't have anything. Hey, take your plants, make a tea out of it, and spray it.
You can
right?
turn desert back into fertile ground.
You'll be surprised, especially if you can manage to get something grow, like you get a crop. Like my crops here, when I was just already letting them go to seed. But a
Mhm.
lot of times, what I'm already starting to do is I collect a little bit. Well, when I eat it, I get the biology myself. I don't wash them off. I enjoy the
Yeah.
soil that's in there. See, so I get the and I'm already feeling better. My stomach's already going, yeah, this is better because I'm getting live biology in my tummy where before I would buy lettuce and that lettuce was sitting there what for weeks and weeks and weeks, if not months.
You've been
Nothing
sprayed
there.
with chemicals 3 or 4 times, and
Nothing there. Exactly. Nothing there. My stomach's going, don't give me any of that stuff. It looks good, but I don't really want it. So, but I learned, I also I already started making liquids that I put back into the garden from the plants.
yeah. Well,
So
and making the extracts is that much better. Like you were saying, you take that little bit and make hundreds of gallons with it. So that extract is so concentrated. You don't have to make a lot all the time. You just make it concentrate and then add it to water when you need it. And like
so
you
that's
were saying earlier, and I want to drag it back to what you were saying, you have a different formula for the spring, a different formula for the summer, a different formula for the winter. And for anybody growing the other type of plants, that's your veg cycle, your flower cycle, etc.
yeah,
And
right.
you can think of it that way.
And it's also to it, whatever it is you want to grow, you can learn to use the biology from that plant to feed the plants to make sure
Yep.
that right. So you'll be surprised. So I have typical greens growing. And right now I don't have a way to really concentrate. So what I do, I let it rain, filled up all my buckets with this nice rainwater. I take
Mm-hmm.
some of the plants, throw them in there, and let them sit there for a while, let the sun do their thing. And I take
Yep.
that and pour it back and spray it back onto the plants.
Yeah. And there's lots of guys doing that. That's really the Jadam technique, Master Cho's son, where he does a lot of those ferments. And there's other guys, load up the 45-gallon drum and, put a lid on it and walk away and don't go buy it for the next couple of months and then use it. Smells like really bad. I wouldn't want to get it on my skin or my clothes, but it is broken down. It's fermented down, but it's all the anaerobic biology that's done that in that system. But you guys got to remember, we need that anaerobic biology. That's the foundational biology that everything has to build off of. If you're missing out on that predator prey where you don't have those prey species, then you can end up with a biological collapse.
And so I'm learning. So in my spray business, see, I have this problem. I really would like the biology to be a little bit more active. I would like to have it ferment a little longer, but people's nose would go, "What is that smell?"
Yeah.
I call it the good shit. I say it's a good shit. What?
And it stinks like good shit. Yeah.
I've learned from experience that if I don't smell anything, there's nothing going on there.
Mm-hmm.
And so I kind of like it. So a lot of times, in my own personal use, I will put it in my 100-gallon spray, bubble it, and then 3 or 4 days later, I would actually use it rather than that same day for my customers.
Yeah.
And again, part of the secret I've learned is that, okay, somebody calls me up, they have Phytophthora disease or any of these other toxic diseases. Guess what knocks them out faster than anything else?
Biology?
The fermented product that you can smell. That means the biology is overwhelming there. You spray it and you soak the plants with it. Nothing's going to survive that. It's not going to survive. And it doesn't kill it. It just knocks it out. That means what? That you have to do it again. This is just a short-term solution. It doesn't solve the problem, right? It doesn't build the soil structure. It doesn't. It's like in our stomach. Like when I eat junk food, I get a massive headache. And a friend of mine told me, have a coconut. So I open the raw coconut and I drink it and eat it inside. Immediately my stomach goes, yay! Some type of biology in that coconut that makes my biology in my stomach really, really feel good. And I also been doing the fermented products now, beans ferment in my stomach, and I'm learning. And my experience in the past has been, so when I make a tea, If somebody has a really bad problem, I would say, I'm going to really hit it with the hard stuff, right? And that hard stuff basically is, I have let this product ferment for a couple of days in my spray, bubble, bubble, bubble. You know, people will say, who died? And they don't
Not
want
your plant. Okay, that's where you got to consider
the smelly stuff. I said, the smelly stuff is what you want.
Yeah.
Seriously, it's not. So I was president of Rose Society for many years in Florida. I would spray the smelly stuff, but I learned people can smell the rose, but I can't smell a rose. I can only smell whatever that junk is you spray. So I've learned, okay, so maybe we have to figure out a way around that. The same thing with vegetables and stuff. So I've learned, okay, so that means that maybe what I should do is to learn how to ferment the ground, so to speak, more.
Yeah.
Rather than ferment the liquid that you spray, make the ground actually seriously start to, quote, ferment. That means more biology in the ground. That's why I made the treatment. Treatments are basically you get everybody together in an environment, clean distilled water, they go nuts. They actually literally start producing more, which is in essence fermenting. They produce more alcohols, more sugar. Right? So you're treating the biology in an entirely different way than people are. You'd be surprised how many diseases and pests, including ants, flies, fleas, whatever the problem is, has to do with the lack of the soil to ferment, to multiply, to do what it normally does is that billions and billions of these microbes take over.
Yeah.
You see, so that is a process in itself. And unfortunately, and I know you had on your show, you were talking about how do you help people to not keep going back and do services for them? You know what I mean? Because a lot of times people will say, well, why do you have to keep doing this month after month after month? Well, you keep damaging your soil's environment, you're not going to heal up. It's not going to work. So you have to, at the same time, long-term solution is bring the biology back. The biology will take a while to come back because you have destroyed it. You have to stop doing that. That's why we talk a lot about getting a garden filter, stop the chemicals in the water going in. It's not natural. The water that comes in, rain is natural, but the rain that we get from the sprinkler systems is not. From the water system is not.
Yeah.
So that's part of the key right there is to stop that process.
Well, think of the antibiotics that is killing our microbiome. Those same type of things are in the water that is coming into your house that you're spraying on your lawn, let alone you're drinking it and killing more of your biology. But every time you spray that chlorinated water out there and all the other chemicals that they're putting into it, you're killing off the biology again.
One of the talks I love to give is about the toxins in the city water. Toxins in the city water. So maybe we can do a show like that called Toxins in the City Water.
Well, I've only got one more title for shows, so you're going to have to do up another 10, Andy.
Oh, yeah, I know. So everybody if you have some ideas of what you want me to talk about, I'm more than happy to cover it. But that's a whole different process, see, of taking care of plants. It's like, gee, maybe we should do something to the biology instead of going after the bug or the disease, because that's not the real problem, the bug or the disease. It's just Mother Nature saying, let the bugs do their job because they know what's going on. You don't.
Well, and if you got bugs, you got unhealthy plants, and their bugs there to do its job, which is to break it down, put it back into the soil structure so that next year's plants can be healthier because it's those components are already there, fermented in the soil by the biology.
That is if you didn't kill all the biology off of whatever junk you're using, whatever water you're using, whatever pesticide you decided to use, whatever fertilizer you're using. And
garlic. Too much garlic. Yeah.
Yeah. Garlic is all. Have you had black garlic? I'm growing some black garlic.
Cool. Never had black garlic.
Yeah. I think it's absolutely wonderful. So what are we talking about next week? Do you know? Is it written down anywhere?
If I pulled it up on my computer, I could tell you, but you've got it written down there too, don't you?
I think so. I'm not really sure. Let me see. Here it is. So next week is going to be delving into the depth of soil biology and uncovering the secrets of healthy gardens. Guys, all these shows before have actually been doing that, delving to the depths of soil biology, uncovering the secrets of a healthy garden. So basically, I'm going to go over everything again that we just finished talking about. All of those are the secrets to healthy gardening. You guys know what I'm going to say. What is the secret to healthy gardening, right?
Biology and the building blocks to have the biology build the garden.
Right. See, so we already got that one covered. We got that one down already, right?
I think we're good on that one, Andy. But brother, we're at the hour, so I'm going to cut it there. Guys, I should be doing an R&D tomorrow. I've been really off kilter here for the last week, so we'll be getting back on track with letting you know what's going on there tomorrow, and we'll be back to normal broadcasting on Monday as well. So peace out, guys. We'll talk to you soon, Andy.
Bye. See you later, brother.